Finishing tips for silicone props, and in this case, a prop head, a silicone prop head cast in TC-5130F. So in this tutorial, I'll be covering the process of patching and seaming and painting. Now for this head, I cast this into a resin mold made in a previous tutorial, so if you missed that, check it out. The link will be on the end screen. This, of course, used 1630 tooling resin backed with BR75D, so definitely check out that tutorial. And of course, this is unique because this resin mold used resin I-forms cast up in TC-800 resin. Now this particular head prop is just going to be a display bust, and typically when I'm casting up busts like that, I typically use a slightly firmer silicone than I'd use for something that's going to have movement, especially something like an animatronic head. So for this I'm using TC-5130F Platinum Silicone. This cures to about a 25 Shore A. So it's ideal for silicone busts just because it's firm enough that it makes hair punching a lot easier than some of the really soft silicones. Now, the casting process for this, I use TC-5130F, of course, as the skin, and then I back that up with a very soft, flexible foam. Here I'm pouring in the TC-266 mixed to a 3-pound density. And the casting process, I'll link to that tutorial on the end screen, so definitely check it out if you missed that part of the process. And also on the end screen, I'll be linking to a couple of my painting tutorials because for time's sake, I'm just going to do a brief overview of the painting process. Now for this video, we're going to pick up right where I left off with the previous tutorial of demolding that silicone head with the foam core. And as usual in this tutorial, I will link to all of the supplies that I use in this process in the video description. So be sure to check that out. The silicone as well as the foam and the flocking and pigments, all of that will be linked in the video description. And here I'm just using a scalpel to trim away that excess silicone from the seam. And the whole point of using those I-forms, those TC-800 resin I-forms with the embedded hardware, is so that when I demold this whole arrangement and pop out those I-forms, I have these nice symmetrical uniform cavities that will accept glass or acrylic eyes. Now, you remember back in the previous tutorial where I was casting this head up, I made a batch of A and B, and I pre-pigmented both sides. And I measured out more silicone than I would use in the casting process so that I'd have a little bit left over. And this is the point where I'm going to be using that leftover silicone. So the whole point of pigmenting and adding flocking to that and getting those colors just right is so that every batch of that silicone, when I mix up the parts A and B, will all be a uniform color. So when I come back to do any patching and seaming work like I'm doing here, this batch will match precisely with the original silicone that I used to cast the head. So really important detail. Otherwise, you can wind up, if you're a little bit off on your color, it's going to be obvious where you have the different batches overlapping each other. And here I'm thickening up that TC-5130F with some SC5001 thickening agent. And what that does, added at about 1%, that's going to raise the viscosity up to a very thick paste. And that's what we need for any kind of patching and seaming work that we're going to be doing on our head. So if we're filling in air bubbles, we don't want that silicone to be runny. We want that to be a nice thick paste that will stay on a vertical surface. Now 5130F, this is a platinum silicone, so you always want to make sure that you're wearing nitrile gloves and that you are very conscious of any potential contaminants. And also a good idea, remember that you get the best bond when you do this as soon as possible. So as soon as we demold our head, we are ready to start patching and seaming. So the sooner you do that, the better. Now, one thing I didn't show before I started trimming with the scalpel is I didn't show that I wiped down this head with some acetone. I cleaned off any mold release residue before I started patching air bubbles. And I'm going to be doing that again before I start painting, but really important to remove any mold release residue, and that just ensures that any of this additional silicone will get a good bond to the silicone that I was using in the casting process. Now it's important to remember that I'm working with a fast setting silicone formula here. This has about a 7 to 8 minute working time at room temperature and about a 1 hour demold. So you want to make sure that you work in small batches if necessary so you don't run out of working time. And two important details to remember at this stage. One, we want to make sure we're working with a very clean piece, that we've removed any mold release residue. And again, typically I use acetone for that. And then second of all, we want to make sure we do this process as soon as possible, because you're always going to get the best bond between fresh layers of silicone. So typically as soon as I demold my part, I'm ready to start patching and seaming. So here I'm just using a dental spatula. You can also use a tongue depressor or a palette knife to clean up that seam and just level that off. And one of the tricks you can do to kind of cheat the skin texture over that seam area, since Brian has a clean shaved head, we're going to need to kind of simulate that surrounding skin area. And one quick, easy way to do that is as soon as we've applied our silicone to that seam area, we can come back and texture it. And this is a very crude texture technique, but it does work, and it is effective for these pretty simple areas like this. Is once you've applied that silicone all over that seam area and the silicone starts to gel, and this is where it gets to be a really tricky timing issue, is as soon as that starts to gel but not completely cured, we can go back over that with some 99% alcohol. And here I'm actually going to texture that using a torn piece of TC-266 flexible foam. So this is from another cast. And here's just a torn piece of that foam, and I dip that in that 99% alcohol and just tap that along that seam. And then that changes that silicone to not have that glossy, smooth surface and have a very crude, very basic skin texture, but it works. For those kind of areas, that's a good way to address that. Now, once you've textured that silicone, you're ready to step back and let that set up completely and let the alcohol flash off, and you're ready to proceed to the painting step. And one other little trick you can also use for the seam to grind down some of the high points of that seam is use a high-speed rotary tool or Dremel tool. You just want to be very careful hitting that seam area with a rotary tool. It takes a very steady hand to not drill and subtract too much away from your part. So be very careful if you take that approach. Now ready to clean up the head one more time. Here I'm going to be using some acetone to wipe everything down. And again, this is after that silicone has set up completely that I used on that seaming and patching batch. And again, remember, this doesn't have to be done in one batch. You could do multiple batches to patch air bubbles and fix that seam. You can take as much time as you want, and if necessary, you could use the slower formula of the TC-5130 if you need more working time. And then you can always use a hair dryer to speed up the set time on that. So here I'm just wiping everything down with acetone, and that way I just remove any other oils, anything from the handling of this head, and now I am ready for the painting process. Now, as I mentioned earlier, for the sake of time, I'm just going to do a quick overview of the painting process. I've done a lot of different painting tutorials over the last few years, so I'll link some of those on the end screen, so definitely check that out. But basically, the rules for painting, I've typically done two different approaches on this channel. One is using silicone adhesive pigmented with silicone pigment, and then using a solvent to thin it down for airbrushing or brush painting. And that's what I'm doing right here. I'm using a silicone adhesive. This is the SAM32 silicone adhesive, and then I'm thinning it with the OSS solvent. Now, I've also done some videos where I've used more of the same silicone. You could also use TC-5130F, and you can also thin that with the OSS silicone solvent. The one thing you want to remember, though, is if you are using more of the same silicone, so more of the 5130F thinned down and using that as a paint medium, you want to do that as soon as possible to, again, get a really good bond between that original silicone part and your paint medium. Now, when I'm painting a realistic head bust like this, I typically use a variety of techniques to get a realistic flesh tone. Typically use brush techniques and use a flick brush, and then also use an airbrush. And I found that using a combination of those techniques, at least for me personally, gets me the best results. I don't like to just airbrush or just brush paint. I'm probably not a good enough painter to rely on any one of those techniques by itself. So I alternate between those three, using a flick brush, flicking on colors of paint, and then using a paper towel to dab off any excess and create little freckles and spots in the modeling you get from natural human skin. And for my brushes, I make sure I use good artist brushes that are designed for oil paints, and that way you don't have the solvent attacking the adhesive in the brush and having brush hairs come out on your silicone bust. And in between different colors, I always hit this with a hair dryer, and that speed sets each layer, and that also keeps your paint job from kind of getting a muddy look where all the colors just start to run together. That way each color stays distinct from the previous color. So after you apply a color or two, hit it with a hair dryer, force dry it, and then proceed on to your next color. Now the airbrush I'm using, I personally prefer an external mix airbrush. These are the easiest to clean. So this is an H3. This is a Pashi H3. And I really like this particular type of airbrush. And for me personally, since I have several of these for painting polyurethanes, this one is specifically for painting silicone. So my red brush, they offer these in a few different colors. So I've got my red brush is specifically for painting platinum silicone. And then I've got a green airbrush from Pashi that is for painting polyurethane. So that way I don't have to worry about accidentally contaminating something by running the wrong material through it. But the whole point with the external mix airbrushes, again, for me personally, those are the easiest to clean. Now, once I'm done with my paint job, after everything has been applied and dried with a hair dryer, and I usually let it sit for a couple of hours to completely cure, then I'm ready to matte the surface. I'm using some of Tom McLaughlin's. This is the Silicone Art Material Silicone Finishing Powder, the SFP, and brushing that all over to get a nice matte surface. And now we are ready for the most fun part of all, which is popping the eyes into this head. So since we use those resin eye forms, we have an allowance for each of those eyes, so a nice negative space that even has a little allowance at the back of the eye for that to sit in place properly. So we're ready to pop those in. Now, as I mentioned earlier, all the materials that I used in this video will be linked in the video description. So be sure to check that out. If you're seeing anything in this video that you think might be hard to find, I will link it all in the video description. So definitely check that out. So there, we're popping the eyes into place, and sometimes you might need to use a tongue depressor to help kind of steer those into position. And you can also use some silicone adhesive to stick those into place, or you could mix up another small batch of 5130F and use that to glue those into place. But as it is, those popped right in and they are stuck. They are exactly where they need to be thanks to those little cavities formed by the eye forms. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the casting video and of course the mold making process video, those will both be linked here on the end screen, so be sure to check those out if you haven't seen them already, as well as a couple of my painting tutorials, both using silicone adhesive as well as using more of the base silicone, more of the 5130F, and then thinned down and airbrush and brush painted. So thanks as usual for watching, and of course thanks for supporting the channel.